Welcome to episode 179 of the Fully In It podcast. This is the fifth in a series of Q&A episodes that'll be running during my maternity leave with my fourth baby. These questions were submitted by my community on Instagram. Today's topic is how to overcome thinking you're not good enough. Welcome to the Fully In It podcast with Kate Saffel, a show for powerful moms growing life-changing businesses while showing up intentionally for their families. I teach you how to create a family-first and profitable business in less time by leveraging simple strategy, mom life-friendly systems, and above all, the mindset of going fully in it. You ready? This is a topic that comes up quite a bit in my coaching because I think that as humans, we've just been told over and over again by parents, siblings, family, school, coaches, employers, the media, right? Basically, other human beings, that you're not good enough, that you need to do better, that perfection is the goal. A lot of this is not overtly communicated, meaning, it's not said directly to you, but this is the culture that we live in. There is always a higher bar to meet and attain. And especially for heart-centered women who truly care about, making an impact in the world, you can take other people's feedback, criticisms, and opinions a bit too seriously and make it mean something about you. Ultimately, I think many of us get to adulthood and entrepreneurship with a lot of this baggage in place. And especially if you were the good student in school, right? And you got validation and accolades for how you performed. It can be very challenging as an entrepreneur and also as a mother to not, critique yourself and beat yourself up when you believe and your brain tells you that you have fallen short. So there's a couple of ways that we can approach this that I would love to talk with you about. The first is being aware of what is your own internal standard and bar. What are you measuring yourself up against? Oftentimes, we don't even know. We just tell ourselves we're not good enough, and this is a pattern in and of itself. And the good news about it being a pattern is that patterns can be broken and they can be reset into something new and more supportive. Sometimes you may know what created this for you. Maybe you have a very specific example of something that happened to you in childhood or young adulthood where you were explicitly told that you were not good enough. And it has sat with you ever since. Now, if that is the case, the good news is that you can go back to when that happened in your mind, and you can ask yourself, was that fair? Was that really true of me? Is that something I want to hold on to as my identity going forward? You get to rewrite that story. The second thing is that you may just be kind of repeating this to yourself because you see other people doing it and it's a subconscious thing. And if you bring awareness to it, you just may notice that you're doing it and start to shift that behavior on a daily basis and decide that that's no longer for you. You get to determine what your own internal bar of success is going to be. It doesn't have to look like what anybody else wants. It has to look like your version of it. A really simple example of this is how you maintain your home, right? We all live somewhere. Some people have a very high bar of what the interior of their home looks like and how they keep it. Other people, they have a different sort of bar for how they want their home to look. Ultimately, it's up to you and what you feel comfortable with. But let's say that you are looking at your home through the lens of someone else's bar. You may be unnecessarily hard on yourself. The same thing is true in business. You may be being unnecessarily hard on yourself. Maybe your goals are not actually the same as someone you see on social media, but for some reason you're telling yourself that it should be that way. And then that is perpetuating this narrative around being not good enough. The other thing that I want to share as a final note, and really it's just because my faith has deepened so much over the last few years, and I can't help but share this perspective. And if it resonates with you, take it. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But, I was talking to a client about this probably a couple of months ago, and she was really struggling with this perfectionism and being hard on herself. And I asked her, what if you saw yourself the way that God sees you? What if you loved yourself the way that God loves you? If you are someone who believes that God's love is unconditional, then the way that you are treating yourself is out of the way that He would. You have an opportunity to correct that and see yourself through a new light. I find that humans are so hard, so unnecessarily hard on themselves. But if you have a God who has chosen to love you as you are right now in this moment, that gives you the grace to perhaps extend that same compassion and love to yourself. Because nobody on this earth is perfect. We know this. We know this deeply, right? Even if people on social media make it look like everything is going perfectly for them, I promise that it is not. So the more that we can accept imperfection and embrace just who we are and the way we do things, reset your bar, and ultimately remember that you are loved exactly how you are right now. I hope that that gives you the freedom to see that you truly are good enough for this life, this motherhood, this business, and everything else that you set out to do. So I hope that this episode was so encouraging to you. If you want to subscribe to my email list and get my weekly emails that are going out right now, I would love to have you. This is just a way for us to stay connected. Look in your podcasting app where you're listening to this episode, and you will see a link that will take you to a sign-up page. Join the email list, and you can expect a once-a-week email. Okay, I will see you on the next Q&A.